Green Lane Masjid and Community Centre Mosque recently. The prayer leader, the Imam, a guy called Mustafa Abu Rayyan. It was a panel discussion. He told the crowd that wives have a duty to make themselves available, like we mean sexually, to their husbands, and should not become career women. He said that women have an obligation to have sex with their husbands. Bit of a medieval worldview, if you ask me. But anyway, the National Secular Society has referred this mosque to the Charity Commission over the film footage. And what the Secular Society is saying is if charities can spout misogyny under the banner of advancing religion, charity law is in dire need of reform. Let's talk to Head of Campaigns at the National Secular Society, Megan Manson. Hello, Megan.
Good evening. How are you doing?
I'm very well. You know, the thing about religions, you know, the Bible's no slouch when it comes to some very old-fashioned views, particularly over the roles of women and husbands and wives and all that. I mean, you know, it's pretty old-fashioned stuff in the holy book of Christianity. But I think, you know, religions, you know, they have to quietly adapt to the times, don't they? They have to sort of dispense with some of the more medieval, ancient outlooks and get with the programme. This guy, Mustafa Abu Rayyan, I mean, to say that his worldview is medieval is something of an exaggeration. I mean, he says that women have an obligation to make themselves sexually available for sex with their husbands. I mean, he's not here to defend himself, but do you think he's aware of quite how anachronistic that nonsense sounds?
Honestly, I'm not sure. But certainly it is bizarre to hear a registered charity say these messages, although it's certainly not the first time we've seen it. It's possibly not even the worst example we've seen. So yes, it sadly we know we'll see more examples like this because there is a big problem here with charity law, in that the advancement of religion is a recognised charitable purpose in law, and it does mean that you can basically, as long as you can demonstrate you're advancing a religion, you can become a charity.
Yes. So this mosque, along with other mosques, are charities because they're advancing a religion, yes?
Yeah.
And is that the same for Christian churches? Do they do that as well?
Yes,
okay.
And we have seen Christian churches promoting similarly misogynistic messages, actually. We saw one quite recently, Table Baptist Church, was saying similar things, that wives must submit to their husbands because they're the weaker vessel. So this is a problem that we see with many different religious charities.
I mean, the thing about this view, in certain circumstances, it would be kind of illegal. It would probably break the Equalities Act or something like that. Do you find it? I mean, you just said that you've got similar cases with a Baptist church, but to me, it's just sort of surprising that in 2024 we have people addressing a crowd and saying this sort of thing. But not so surprising to you. You're used to it.
Yeah, I mean, it still shocks me, some of the things that I hear. Yes, I mean, the real concern here is how this translates into how women are treated. So when you're saying that a woman must obey everything her husband says, and that includes basically being available for when he demands sex, I mean, that's opening the door to coercive control and abuse. And what's particularly worrying is this charity does run a domestic abuse support service, but it surely can't do that on the one hand and then be saying that women should not pursue a career, they must obey their husbands even when they demand sex and they don't want to do that. Yeah, this goes completely contrary to trying to protect women from domestic abuse.
I think the problem with Islam, with Muslimism, as it were, is that it is a religion that tends to appeal to fundamentalists. I mean, Christianity, certainly in this country, we're less fundamental about our national religion. And perhaps that's where the problems here arise, you know, that people read the Quran and the scriptures and they decide that these words must be fully obeyed, whereas I would have thought that sensibly, you know, when you're dealing with scriptures, ancient scriptures written thousands of years ago, you have to take on board that times have changed. And perhaps, you know, you can't really, you shouldn't, in my view, be able to go around saying women must make themselves sexually available to their husbands. They must not have careers. It is their duty to be available. I mean, you know, I guess that's not against the law, but it strikes me as profoundly wrong in this day and age.
Well, absolutely. I mean, certainly you shouldn't be a charity and be able to say that, because a charity is meant to provide a public benefit. That is sort of why charities get tax breaks, is they're meant to be benefiting the public. So if you're advancing any ideology that is saying these sorts of things, which is pulling women's rights back, then no, it shouldn't be a charity, because it's not providing a public benefit, it's potentially harming people.
And do you think that what this Imam is saying, you know, you've got to make yourself available, having sex with your husband is your duty, inherent in that is whether or not you want to have sex, and you must not be a career woman. Do you think that all adds up to clear misogyny?
Yes. I think that is misogyny. It's based on the idea that women have to be subordinate to men, that somehow men have qualities in them that mean that women have to follow them. That is misogyny. If you think that somehow men should be leaders, that women can't be leaders, that women are there for the pleasure of men, then that's inherently misogynistic.
It's never worked out in my house. It's always been the other way around, I'll tell you that. Have you had any response yet from the Charity Commission, Megan?
No, they've said that they're looking into this mosque, but it's not clear whether they mean this particular incident or a prior incident that there's been. There's been some other issues with this mosque in the past, and it's not clear from what the Charity Commission said whether or not it's referring to that prior one or this one. So we're still waiting to see exactly what the Charity Commission are doing.
And you know, earlier you mentioned the Baptist Church. Did you complain about them? Have you lodged a complaint about them as well? Have you got any other similar cases on the go? Yeah?
Yes, we've got quite a few. I mean, one of the worst we saw was fairly recently in September. Anwar Masjid in Birmingham went one step further and said in a sermon that was hosted by the mosque, the lecturer said that if a woman refuses to have sex with her husband can hit her. Provided it doesn't leave a bruise. That was the caveat. But that was quite shocking that a charity would host somebody who would say that.
I'm sorry to laugh, Megan, but if you didn't laugh about this claptrap, you'd cry. You really would. Listen, keep up the good work, and very good to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Megan Manson there, Head of Campaigns at the National Secular Society. What do you make of that?